a rustic barn with a wooden chandelier hanging in the center. There was a bar with stools positioned at the front and tables set up around the room. Back when he had worked here, there had been one basic tasting room and nowhere for anyone to sit. Most of the wine had been sent out to retail stores for sale, rather than making the winery itself some kind of destination. He wondered when all of that had changed. He imagined it had something to do with Lindy, the new owner and ex-wife of Jameson Leighton's son, Damien. As far as Liam knew, and he knew enough, considering he didn't get involved with business ventures without figuring out what he was getting into, Damien had drafted the world's dumbest prenuptial agreement. At least, it was dumb for a man who clearly had problems keeping it in his pants. Though why Sabrina was still working at the winery when her sister-in-law had current ownership, and her brother had been deposed, and her parents were, from what he had read in public records, apoplectic about the loss of their family legacy, he didn't know. But he assumed he would find out. About the same time he found out whether or not something was going to get thrown at his head. The door from the back opened, and he gritted his teeth, because no matter how prepared he felt philosophically to see Sabrina, he knew that there would be impact. There always was. A damned funny thing, that one woman could live in the back of his mind the way she had for so long, that no matter how many years or how many women he put between them, she still burned bright and hot in his memory. That no matter how he had prepared himself to run into her, because he knew how small towns worked, the impact was like a brick to the side of his head every single time. And no matter that this meeting was carefully orchestrated and planned, he knew it was going to be the same. And it was. She appeared a moment after the door opened, looking severe, overly so. Her blonde hair was pulled back into a high ponytail, and she was wearing a black sheath dress that went down past her knee, but conformed to curves that were more generous than they'd been 13 years ago. In a good way. "Hello, Liam," she said, her tone impersonal. Had she not used his first name, it might have been easy to pretend that she didn't know who he was.
"Sabrina?"
The word came out neutrally enough, but he couldn't ignore the fact that he could taste it, like honey on his lips. Sweet, enticing. Something he hadn't tasted in far too long. Sabrina didn't seem to feel the moment at all. Her expression remained cool, her lips set in a flat line, her blue eyes looking through him. "Lindy told me that you wanted to talk about a potential joint venture. And since that falls under my jurisdiction as manager of the tasting room, she thought we might want to work together." She finally smiled. The smile was so brittle it looked like it might crack her face.
"Yes, I am familiar with the details, particularly since this venture was my idea."
He let a small silence hang there for a beat, before continuing.
"I'm looking at an empty building at the end of Main Street in Copper Ridge. I think it would be a great opportunity for both the Laughing Irish and for Grassroots, a tasting room that's more easily accessible to the tourists who come to Copper Ridge."
"How would it differ from Liam Donnelly's store? She sells specialty foods."
"Well, we would focus on Grassroots wine and Laughing Irish cheese. Also, I would happily purchase products from Lane's to give the menu a local focus. It would be nothing big, just a small lunch place with wine. Very limited selection. Very specialty. But in a town like Copper Ridge, that works well. People want to wander the historic main street and shop in boutiques. A place that offers the chance to sit and have a short break is perfect."
"Great," she said, her smile remaining completely immobile. He took that moment to examine her even more closely. She was more beautiful now than she had been at 17. Her slightly round, soft face had refined in the ensuing years, her cheekbones now more prominent, the angle of her chin sharper. Her eyebrows looked different, too. When she'd been a teenager, they had been thinner, rounder. Now they were stronger.